So in our last set of tutorials, we've done some optimizations to our environment to hopefully allow them to run a little bit smoother. That's a little bit with some lighting features, and you should have gotten the VR headset set up and the controllers being tracked. Um, I recognize that tutorial that you guys did is probably a little out of date compared to the current version. Obviously, the Interaction Toolkit has made some updates since the last time I built that tutorial. So just to kind of reiterate and try and get you guys through a maybe a more streamlined setup of everything, I'm just going to kind of quickly redo building an XR origin. You can see I've already got a couple of, an XR origin set up. I'm going to go ahead and just disable this for right now, build one from scratch. All right, so I'm going to right click and I'm going to come down and I'm going to click on add an XR origin and just leave it named that. And you can see some of the subtle differences, right? That it automatically has a camera offset, has a main camera, a left controller, a right controller. When I go into those, you can see that they've already got a couple of different elements added to them in terms of the ray interactor and line renderer and stuff. Don't really need to worry about those too much. The big thing that we need to worry about is obviously when you're setting everything up, getting all of this kind of stuff to work, right? So, um, just simply by adding this XR origin in, you've already are partway there to having VR set up in your headset. If you recall, we used the floor setting to tell the system to use the floor as our reference for the height of the headset in the game. So that's that. It already has the input action manager assigned to it. We can actually modify this at some point, but we'll go ahead and leave it as it's set up currently. But all of the settings should already be there. You should already have all of that. Nothing to change on camera offset. On the main camera, you can see that maybe there's some different settings that we might want to take a quick look at. For the most part, everything in here should be good to go. And the big thing is what you'll notice is that rather than manually having to add the tracked pose component to your camera, it already has a track pose driver, which is the more updated version of the track pose component that we added in the previous tutorial. So you can see it already does some things for you, sets up rotation and position for the headset, tells it to update before and after the render, and then you can also see that it has some different actions associated with it in terms of using the different states of the headset. And so you can just kind of leave that as is. So that really just leaves only one main step to do, and that is to update our controllers to behave the way that we want them to. So there's a couple different ways that we can do this, and you should have already downloaded in the last set of tutorials the prefabs for the Oculus controller, and essentially what we can do now is we can go in and grab the touch controllers, right? And we can drag that onto our left controller. We can drag that onto our right controller. We can expand this, select the left and right associated components that match, delete the ones that don't. So now that should bring our controllers into the scene. And all we have left to do is update the actions associated. And the easiest way to do that is to come up here on the settings and to click the default controller here. And then on the left controller, you're going to do the same thing. Click on the left default controller, and that should pretty much do it. So assuming I set all of this stuff up correctly, in a few minutes, basically, you can have an XR origin up and running. So let's go ahead and test it and just make sure that all of our stuff is working. All right, so I'm looking around. My headset is being tracked, and right now I'm kind of floating above the space because I didn't move my XR origin to someplace closer to the floor. But you can see my controllers are in the scene, they're being tracked, and you can see some of the different default things that are associated with that. So um, now we can move on to things like getting our character to move. So I'll make a separate video that shows you how to do that.